I used to think heartbreak was something loud, shouting, slamming doors, arguments that left you shaking. I imagined it as a moment, something sharp and quick, like glass shattering on a tile floor. But the kind of heartbreak I felt the day I found the letter in my husband's jacket pocket wasn't loud at all. It was quiet, slow, a soft unraveling of the world I thought I lived in. It started on an ordinary Thursday. Nothing special, nothing dramatic. I was doing laundry, humming a song I didn't know the words to, sorting through the clothes my husband Mark had left in a pile by the door. It annoyed me. He always did that. But it was the kind of annoyance that felt comfortable after years together. The irritation that becomes part of the rhythm of marriage. I reached into the pocket of his gray jacket, searching for the usual things. Receipts he never threw away, loose change, the occasional pen. My fingers brushed against something soft, folded carefully. I pulled it out without thinking. A small envelope, cream-colored, neat, feminine handwriting. For a moment, I thought maybe it was a birthday card he'd forgotten to give me, or a note from a coworker, something harmless, but my name wasn't on it. There was no name at all, just a small gold-pressed heart sticker sealing the flap, the kind you find in craft stores, the kind people use on personal, private things. A strange heaviness settled in my chest. I shouldn't open it, I told myself. But I already knew I would. I walked into the kitchen, sat down at the table, and stared at the envelope like it might explode if I moved too fast. My heart thudded, not fast but slow and heavy, like it was preparing for something. When I finally opened it, the paper trembled in my hands. The letter was handwritten, delicate cursive flowing across the page. 3 sentences in and my stomach dropped. "I miss you," it said. "I wish things were different. I shouldn't feel this way, but I do." There was no name signed at the bottom, just an initial, L. I read the letter 3 more times, each pass making the words blur a little more. My fingers went numb. I felt the air in the room shift, suddenly too warm, too still. Mark wasn't home yet. He was supposed to be home in an hour, like always. We had dinner reservations that night, a date we scheduled weeks ago. We were supposed to be celebrating. Nothing specific, just us, just time together. He said he wanted to rekindle things. Rekindle. The word suddenly felt sickening. The letter shook in my hand as I read it again, line by line, hoping, praying. It meant something innocent. That it wasn't what it looked like, but it was intimate, personal, emotional. It was not meant for a coworker or a friend. It was meant for someone you miss when you shouldn't. Someone you want when you can't have them. Someone who shouldn't be yours. I sat at the kitchen table with that letter for over 20 minutes. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even move. I just sat there feeling everything inside me slowly loosen, like a picture frame falling from a wall. When Mark finally came home, the sound of the door opening made me jump. I shoved the letter back into the envelope, but I wasn't fast enough. He saw it, and he froze. His eyes widened, just slightly, but enough. Enough for me to see everything I needed to see. He knew exactly what I was holding. He set his keys down carefully like he was approaching a wild animal and said my name softly. "Emma, please listen." I didn't speak. I didn't trust my voice. He pulled out the chair across from me and sat down slowly. The silence between us grew thick, heavy, full of things I didn't want to hear. "It's not what you think," he said. But we both knew it was. I slid the letter across the table toward him. "Then tell me what it is." He stared at the envelope, his face tightening, his breath unsteady. I'd known him for 15 years. I could read everything in his expression, the conflict, the guilt, the fear, and the truth. "It was from someone at work," he said finally. "It's over. It never should have happened." The words struck me like a cold slap. Something in me cracked, a tiny crack, invisible but deep. "Her initial is L?" I asked. He nodded once. "Who is she?" He hesitated. That was the first painful moment, his hesitation, because hesitation means choice, consideration, protection. He wasn't protecting me. He was protecting her. "Her name is Lauren," he said. I closed my eyes. Lauren, a name I recognized. He'd mentioned her before, a new project manager. Smart, kind, easy to work with, he'd said. "You never suspect the names you hear casually over dinner." "How long?" I asked. My voice wasn't angry, it was flat, dull. Another hesitation. 8 months. 8 months. 8 months of secrets. 8 months of lies. 8 months of touches, glances, conversations, possibilities. 8 months of him slipping away from me 1 inch at a time. I felt something sharp behind my ribs. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw a stranger. Someone I didn't know. Someone who had lived a whole other life while coming home to me every night, kissing my forehead, telling me he loved me. It was strange. I didn't think I'd cry, but the first tear fell silently, then another and another, until they blurred everything in front of me. Mark reached across the table like he always did when I cried, but I pulled away so fast he froze midair. He lowered his hand slowly. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "Why?" I asked. The question felt huge. Why her? Why anyone? He looked down, ashamed. I didn't mean for it to happen. We were working late, talking. I felt disconnected from us. You seemed distant, unhappy. I didn't know how to fix it. "So you broke it instead," I said. He swallowed hard. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" He didn't answer. I realized then that nothing he said would make this make sense. Affairs never make sense. They start with something small, an unmet need, a quiet vulnerability, and then grow into something you think you can control until you can't. I stood up slowly, still clutching the letter. My whole body felt unstable, like the floor beneath me might collapse. "Did you love her?" I asked. He looked panicked. "Emma, no. I love you. I've always loved you. But you loved her enough to write back," I said. "I can tell from the way she wrote. She wasn't guessing. She wasn't hoping. She knew you missed her." His face told me the truth even before his words did. "I cared about her," he admitted quietly. "But it's over. I ended it." "When?" I asked. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. 2 weeks of him pretending everything was fine. 2 weeks of him kissing me goodnight with the taste of someone else's memory still on his lips. 2 weeks of him saying, "I love you," while grieving someone he chose over me. I felt sick. He stood and reached for me again, but I stepped back like his touch might burn. "I want to fix this," he said, desperate now. "I want us. I want our life. Please don't give up on me." "Why didn't you throw the letter away?" I asked. "Why carry it around?" His face crumpled. I don't know, but he did know. You don't keep letters from someone you no longer want. I walked past him and went upstairs. He followed slowly, like he was afraid I might disappear if he let me out of his sight. In the bedroom, I sat on the edge of the bed, the letter limp in my hand. "Emma," he whispered, sitting beside me. "Talk to me, please." I turned to him. "Did she love you?" He nodded, tears forming. "Yes." "And you let her?" "Yes." "And you loved her back?" He broke. "Not the way I love you," he said, "but yes, I cared. I felt something I shouldn't have felt." The pain in my chest deepened, slow, heavy, suffocating. I stood up, walked to the closet, and pulled out a suitcase. "Please don't," he whispered. "I need space," I said. "I can't breathe here. Not right now." He didn't stop me. Maybe because he knew he had no right to. Maybe because he knew the damage was done. I packed quietly, jeans, shirts, a few dresses, toothbrush, shoes. Every movement felt mechanical, like my body was working on autopilot while my heart tried to keep up. Mark watched me, his eyes wet, his hands trembling. He looked like a man begging without words. "Where will you go?" he asked. "Somewhere you can't reach me," I said. He flinched. I left the house before midnight. He followed me to the door, but he didn't try to stop me this time. He just whispered, "I'm sorry," over and over, as if the words might stitch together what he'd torn. Outside, the air was cold, biting. I got into my car, started the engine, and drove away. I didn't know where I was going. Maybe my sister's house, maybe a hotel, maybe anywhere that wasn't home. I cried the whole drive, not loud sobs, but quiet tears that burned. I pulled over at a rest stop when the road blurred too much to see. I clutched the letter in my hand, squeezing it until the paper crumpled. I wanted to throw it out the window, burn it, turn it to ashes, but I didn't. I held on to it, because as much as it destroyed me, it was the truth I deserved to know. The next morning, I woke up in my sister's guest room. The sun felt too bright. My phone buzzed with messages from Mark. Apologies, please, explanations I wasn't ready to read. I spent the whole day staring at the ceiling, replaying memories like broken film reels. Our first date, our wedding, our inside jokes, the nights he held me when I cried, the mornings he made coffee just the way I liked it. How do you reconcile those memories with betrayal? How do you reconcile love with pain? How do you reconcile a life built with someone who let someone else into the walls of your marriage? I didn't have answers. Not then. Not now. Over the next few weeks, Mark tried everything. Calls, letters, therapy suggestions, flowers, long emails explaining every detail of how the affair started and ended. I read some, ignored others. I didn't rush forgiveness. I didn't rush anything, because trust is delicate, and once shattered, it cuts you every time you try to pick it up. But here's the part I didn't expect. Even after everything, a part of me still loved him. Not in the naive, untested way I used to, but in a painful, complicated way, like loving a house that's burned down. You can love the memory, the foundation, the idea of what it once was, but you can't live there anymore. Months passed. He asked to meet one day, just to talk. I agreed, hesitantly. We met on a park bench where we used to sit in our early 20s. The place still smelled like grass. "I'm still in love with you," he said softly, "even if you never come back." I looked at him, really looked, and saw the man I married, the man I lost, and the man who broke me all at once. "I know," I said, "but love isn't the problem." He nodded slowly. "Trust is." "Yes," I whispered. "Trust is." We sat there in silence, two people who might always love each other, but could no longer repair what had been broken. And that's the part no one tells you about heartbreak. Sometimes the end isn't a fight. Sometimes it isn't anger. Sometimes it's simply understanding that the person you love is no longer someone you can build a future with. Mark and I separated permanently 2 months later. The letter is still in a drawer at my sister's house, crumpled, faded, but I can't throw it away. Not because I'm holding on to the pain, but because it reminds me of the moment I finally saw the truth. Not just about Mark, but about myself. That I deserve a love that doesn't hide in jacket pockets, a love that doesn't come with secrets, a love that doesn't leave me searching for clues in someone else's handwriting. The letter broke me, but it also set me free. And sometimes breaking is the first step toward healing.